Even with all this practice, Fetter cannot say if his skill in combat or the use of weapons improves. He eventually becomes accustomed to violence, which, he supposes, was the point in the first place. One day, Mother of Glory pronounces him ready for the real thing. She packs him a lunch and gives him some money and a knife and a blessing. The words impatient and mumbled because she doesn't believe in blessings, not even her own. Such things are his father's territory. Remember, son, Mother of Glory says, compensating with pomposity for her deficits of piety or affection. The only way to change the world is through intentional, directed violence. And Fetter goes out into the world, armed and dangerous and 13.
Isn't that how Pokemon starts?
Yeah.
Listening to Socialist Shelf Radio.
Welcome back to Workers Lit. We're talking about another book today. Pretty excited that we're going to be covering Unfettered, John Fetterman's new memoir.
Can't find a fetter man.
No, that will be relevant when we get into the plot of this book. But no, I am super excited to talk about today's book. Aisha, do you want to let the folks know about it? Because this was your suggestion. I hadn't read this before, and I think you had, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yes. This is The Saint of Bright Doors by Vajra Chandrasekera, I believe it's pronounced. I probably butchered that. I'm sorry. And I was put onto this book by Amal El-Motar, who wrote This Is How You Lose Time War, and who is like a good friend of mine. And she was like, Aisha, you have to read this book. And I read it, I think like last year, maybe 2 years ago, and it blew my mind. Like, I have never read anything like this book.
Yeah.
I know that his other stuff is even more like experimental and cool and weird, but like this book is such a good fantasy. I love to read something that is not about Western culture. And it just has like so much like reading something that has a bunch of like flavor from different sort of like stories instead of, everything being a Western fairy tale.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Everything is just fucking ancient Greece now. It's nice to read something that's the author is Sri Lankan.
I mean,
yes.
To be fair, if it had been about ancient Greece, then it would have been the Saint of Right Doors, as in right wing. So that we couldn't have had that.
If Justin Roiland had made it, it would be the Saint of Real Fake Doors.
They are kind of real fake doors, though.
They are, yes.
Wait, I'm sorry. Let me take that again. The Saint of White Doors.
Yeah, no, it was refreshing to read through this and be totally adrift in terms of references, in terms of cultural touchstones, like, and like fairy tale wise, in the sense that it's not a fairy tale, it was very, very experimental. I was reading right before this a short story of his, When Leopard's Bane Came to the Door of Third Heaven, which is the one that he wrote about basically like two guards to this like door that leads to like outside of the cycle of reincarnation, and yeah, no, it's really fucking cool. Y'all should check it out.
He loves doors.
Mm-hmm.
He loves doors, literally, so much. Well,
could one say that he is the Saint of Bright Doors?
He is. He is the saint of tight doors, because all the doors in his stories are tight as fuck. They're so sick.
I don't know. There's something like very earwormy about the Saint of Bright Doors. Like it's like a cellar door type of
Do you know what's funny? I followed him on Blue Sky today. Let me find it. Because he had a skeet about exactly that, Aisha. And I don't have to scroll too far to see it. Yeah, here we go. I mean, sure, cellar door and all, but just hold nanocrystalline metacinnabar in your mouth a minute.
Well, hey,
That's
we
good.
we
I told
also
you he's a good follow.
Mm-mm.
we also had to do something positive for Sri Lanka after we came for Nicki Minaj, who, while not being from Sri Lanka, claimed to be on the song Monster. So it was
What?
kind of required for us. Yeah, where she says, "Pull up to the Tobago, bad bitch from Sri Lanka."
Oh, I thought that she had a bad bitch from Sri Lanka with her. That's what
Oh,
I assumed.
maybe that makes more sense, but I never read it that way.
Why from Sri
Regardless,
Lanka? Is it just because it rhymes?
I don't know, but we had to show that we have respect for the nation. We just don't respect Nicki Minaj's theories about white, like, Christian genocide in Nigeria and the vaccine making your balls swell up. That was such a good day on Twitter.
Oh, what a great tweet.
That was one of the last great days on Twitter.
Yeah, attack by balls is actually figures into the climax of this story.
It certainly
It
does.
is.
It certainly does, and it's funny you use that word.
when the protagonist of John Fetterman's novel Unfettered does it himself. I hate that John Fetterman's book is named Unfettered. That genuinely pisses
So
me.
fucking
When I
stupid.
read this and that, because it tainted the end of this book for me.
Do you realize that
I didn't
we could do a whole year's worth of episodes on like congressional nothing books? You know,
No, okay. John Fetterman's book actually is pretty fire, but other podcasts have already dove into it, so we have no need to do that.
I was just listening
just
to
had to
Jeff
make
about it.
Oh yeah. No, I listened to. I don't know if they've done one or two episodes about it, but I listened to one of them.
Are we gonna have to be the podcast that reads American Canto? Because I don't think anybody has.
No,
I
God,
don't.
no.
We were joking about it in the Discord, but I honestly think that, like, people joke about, like, platforming things. That book got so few sales that we would actually be platforming it by buying three
Yeah.
three copies of it.
I don't want to read this book, and this is coming from somebody who's been hounding Jacob to read the sequel to The President is Missing for years now.
I am not fucking doing that. Like,
Is that Bill Clinton's book?
yes.
Mm-hmm.
He's written
yeah.
like 2 sequels to that shit. I hate him. No, I was in Lenore's home not too long ago, and Lenore has a copy of it, and I got jump scared by a giant picture of Bill Clinton when I turned my head on her couch, and Bill Clinton's just smiling at me, and it, like, just dead eyes. I'm like, what is this doing here?
I'll
Bill
put
Clinton
another
right
book in
underneath
front
a
of it.
giant trans flag is made.
Incredible.
Well, Lenore, you did the background on our author today, so let's get into it, I guess.
So yeah, Vajra Chandrasekera, he's born on August 17th, 1979 in Colombo in Sri Lanka. So he wrote his first short story at age 9. I don't know that we still have it. He was first published at age 12 in a newspaper.
Shortly
in his
before he was
hometown.
sent out into the world with a knife, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Now, his dad was a fairly successful writer in the 70s and 80s, and he encouraged Chandrasekera to pursue writing. But he was also like, look, don't quit your day job, because like the father was a civil servant, which gave him like the time and money he needed to write his first novel. His first day job, Vajra's first day job at age 18, was writing fake product reviews for computer hardware. Like, manufacturers would send his boss, like, who ran the website that the reviews were on, like, manufacturers would send his boss free stuff, and the manufacturers would advertise for them on the review site. That's how it kind of worked. And so he came into a whole bunch of computer parts at a young age, and that's how actually he built his first PC. He says that he grew up cyberpunk this way.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, really fucking cool. Later in life, he worked as a freelance editor, usually for nonfiction. The editor to writer jump is an interesting one to me. Now, in 2012, he's my age at this point, basically. He publishes Yermungandr in Ideomancer, which is a Canadian sci-fi magazine that's no longer around. If you subscribe to his Patreon, you can still find it, but as far as I'm aware, Jormungandr is nowhere else online, and this is his breakthrough into Western SFF. Slight tangent, also published in Ideomancer, Sarah Monette in 2006, with Letter from a
nice.
Teddy Bear on Valentine's Day.
Was Lenore, was he publishing consistently like fiction before that, or was that his first fiction, West or otherwise?
I think that was his first like major break, like West or otherwise, because I couldn't.
Okay.
I was going through his bibliography on his site, and I couldn't find anything before Jormungandr. So over the ensuing decade, he's super prolific. He goes on to publish over 50 short stories, a whole bunch more like flash fiction pieces. From 2016 to 2022, he's fiction editor at Strange Horizons, where he reviewed The Ballad of Black Tom. He has a pretty funny anecdote about his time there, actually. The editorial board of Strange Horizons has been a finalist for the Hugo for Best Semi-Pro Zine every year since 2013. They won last year. And Chandrasekera said, "Yeah, depending on how you do the math, I am 7.5% of a Hugo nominee by volume." Now that was at that time. He's a finalist for the Hugo in his own right now, and that is with his first novel, The Saint of Bright Doors, and he dropped that in 2023. He actually started writing it in 2016. He kind of stalled until he picked up again in 2020. I believe that was a pandemic project of his. And it's actually
I can see some DNA.
Feels like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see some DNA of that in there.
It's actually like his fourth or fifth novel project too. Like he says, his first was for National Novel Writing Month in 2005. And
Classic.
And he says that it was bad, so I trunked it.
Many such cases.
Mm-hmm. I've tried and I haven't gotten to the end of one, but maybe I will.
No, I'm putting my foot down. There's no such thing as a bad novel. All novels are good. Turn them,
including The President is Missing.
They're all good except The President is Missing. Every other book is good. So just no, I got told that once at a writer's conference. I was said yeah, I worked on something. I'm working on something new because it's not good. And someone said, "Hey, every book is good." And I'm like, that's just
Was this Frank Peretti that told you this?
No, but no. Frank Peretti is apparently pretty stuck up. When I met him, he didn't say anything like that. But no, someone was like, every book is good. And I'm like, that's objectively false. Every book is not.
Frank Peretti is stuck up because he's such a good writer.
It is because he's such a famed writer and he has no allegations against him at all. No, not even one.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's if we ever do a Frank Peretti episode, I'll get into that. But holy shit, there's some dark stuff.
Mm.
Oh god,
and it's not just his horror writing.
That's going on the list. But yeah, Amal Mutar reviewed it in the New York Times, said it was the best book of the year. And a lot of people agree with her. It wins a Nebula, a Crawford, an Ignite. It's a finalist for the Hugo. Emily Tesh ends up winning that year for Some Desperate Glory. And it's followed up in 2024 with Rake's Fall. He's a really, really quick writer. He says that it was maybe 6 or 7 months from picking up his draft of Saint of Bright Doors to finishing it. And apparently it wasn't...
Oh my god.
It wasn't all that polished from the original draft either. He says the first draft to what you see on the printed page didn't really change a whole lot except for maybe a paragraph somewhere.
Does he because I know he's not at Strange Horizons anymore, so does he not have a day job? Or was he just able to lock in full time on that or what?
I wasn't clear on that. Because he had just left Strange Horizons at that time. I think he was between jobs at that point.
Gotcha. Well,
yeah, pandemic. I mean, I guess it makes sense if you are stuck at home in the pandemic and you're not making a bunch of crappy video games like I was. You can write a book
or deliver.
Well, there are no crappy video games. All video games.
That's true. That's actually true. All video games are good.
Yeah, the only ones that are bad are unfinished ones. So just turn them in. That's the lesson. Now that it's been 5 years since Cyberpunk released, just turn in your video game. It doesn't matter if it's done or not. We just passed the 5-year anniversary of Cyberpunk. Did that everyone?
Yeah.
No,
I can't talk shit about Cyberpunk. Everybody I know in my life works on it.
Yeah.
So he follows up Saint of Bright Doors in 2024 with Rake's Fall. That he says he wrote in 3 or 4 months.
Oh my god.
And And that one gets an Otherwise Award and an Ursula K. Le Guin Prize. It's nominated for a Nebula and a Locus. So he's killing it. And he's actually working. He says that his next book is about a year and a half out at this point. He's currently in New York.
So it's going to be 10,000 pages long.
Yep.
It takes him a year and a half.
You know what? If it's the last book I read, I'm okay with it. He's currently in New York now as a 2025 through 2026 fellow of the Dorothy and Lewis B. Coleman Center for Scholars and Writers at the New York Public Library. Basically, they invite 15 people every year to come and work on their writing project. Could be fiction, could be nonfiction. And he's working on his next book there. And you get an office, you get full access to the library, a stipend. So, the ideal conditions.
Good work if you can get it.
Yeah. And I was going over his interviews is I don't know if I'm just off my game today, but it's real dense reading, and not because he's not an interesting guy. He's just genuinely one of the most well-read people that I think I've ever looked up for this show. His frames of reference in terms of fiction, in terms of philosophy, in terms of history are they're really interleaved in really fascinating ways. In particular, you mentioned, Aisha, that he was really left, and he's quoting Lenin at one point in one of his interviews, talking about how fascism is the imperial boomerang, the highest stage of imperialism. He's we should get him on the show. He'd be fascinating to talk to.
Well, Lenore, it seems like he's making a lot of references. Would you call him the saint of sight doors?
Maybe.
It's going to be my last episode on the show. I'm getting killed.
Yeah. You're bringing a lot of
camp.
You're bringing a lot of Saint of Trite doors.
Oh my God.
What's the name of the camp I'm getting sent there for undisclosed crimes?
The one toward the end of the book that's enormous.
Yeah, I don't think it has a name. I think it's just Feder thinks it's a prison, but it seems more like a quarantine zone. But I guess there's no difference.
Seems like nobody knows what it is, but we'll get to it.
Yeah, quarantine zone with an internal bureaucracy and markets, and very, very similar to outside, except that there's guards occasionally. But I mean,
yeah, that whole section is and suddenly we're in Brazil, the movie, not the country.
Yeah. I guess if that's into the bio there, we can get into this book. The first sentence in this book: the moment Feder is born, Mother of Glory pins his shadow to the earth with a large brass nail and tears it from him. This is his first memory, the seed of many hours of therapy to come. That's how we open it up. As he immediately is Peter Pan style losing his shadow.
Yeah. The one of the really cool things about this book that I think is something that you really only experience if you grew up or have family in the third world, which is the sort of juxtaposition of the old and the new, the sort of very modern, they have, the internet, social media and stuff, but then just all the sort of juxtaposition, you can have, houses made of daub and stuff. And then, but yeah, that's just not a thing you experience in the US. Everything here is 50 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a really jarring moment in chapter 2 where it uses the word fandom, and I'm like, what time period are we in?
Yeah,
and I do like that a lot, though. It's of a piece with this juxtaposition that you see here in the very first two sentences, because it's something explicitly supernatural that's going on when he loses his shadow. But then the second sentence is, okay, this is the seed of many hours of therapy to come.
Yeah,
right. So it's something that's explicitly supernatural. But it coexists with something as real, as mundane as therapy, and it's something that can be it's something from the supernatural world that can be processed in the real one, however imperfectly. And this is again, religion as fandom, right? There's this whole process of sort of demystification going on here in an explicitly supernatural world that I'm intrigued by.
I mean, it's also like urban fantasy in like a way, like the way that it I've seen it described as like second world fantasy, which I guess it technically is, because it's like, I don't think Luriat is a real city, but like,
No.
I think it just feels like it's set in our world in sort of like a heightened, like different dimension, almost like a different world.
Well, one thing that we've got going on in this world, and we don't get, this book it's one of those books that does a lot of world building in the experiential, not a lot of world building and the like, we're going to sit down and like do 30 hours of maps, which I appreciate. But you feel the world's lived in. You are on a supercontinent that is highly technologically developed, at least in some regions, but there are also outlying provinces that are less technologically developed. They are kind of being so. Something is off fundamentally. Something is broken. Things feel weird. Like the vibes are off. At first you think it's just this guy, but no, actually the vibe of this whole world is fundamentally off.
Right.
There is a lot of political unrest. There is a lot of disease. There's a lot of real challenges that are leading to a lot of internal migration.
Life under an authoritarian regime, basically.
Yes. Life under an authoritarian regime, but not one that like has a single autocrat. Like it cannot get its shit straight at all. It is a dysfunctional authoritarian regime. You pointed out Brazil, Aisha, the movie, and I think that's a really great example of like a highly bureaucratic, no one quite knows who the authority is, everything feels arbitrary type regime is the world we're dealing with. And it is a world that has had its history broken over its knee, essentially, as we will come to find. And we have this character we're following, Fetter, our protagonist, who is raised in this world by a mother who is like, I am raising you to be a weapon from birth, to kill me, to kill your dad, and to kill your dad's friends, because he started his stupid religion that messed everything up. And here, go kill your uncle just to prove that you can kill people. And if you got to hang him upside down by floating, then you got to do that, because not having a shadow makes you float. That's the world Fetter is thrown into.
Yeah, his dad is like a well-known like cult leader, I guess, is really what he is, like called the Perfect and Kind, and he's like a very popular saint who has like this huge following. It gets called a fandom multiple times by Fetter. And yeah, his mother, who's referred to as Mother of Glory, raised him to be his father's assassin because he, in her words, he threw us away.
And to be in, there is a real like unification church vibe going on with the father's cult, which would make sense because that unification church doesn't have a significant but somewhat of a presence in Sri Lanka. Is a base, it is kind of giving this. It's got Christianity aesthetics. It's got its other kind of aesthetics going on. It's all tied up in this individual, and it even has its own internal schisms. There's a lot going on here, but for Fetter, it is just this experience of this like overbearing, intense mom, a mom who clearly loves him, but has a higher goal, forging him into a weapon. But it's funny because he's forged into a weapon, but not in the sense that he's like some like incredible badass or whatever. Like he is a kid that like can't grow a beard until like much later than everybody else. He is smaller than most people. He gets hurt and he stays hurt. He is not the most emotionally stable person. This is not like, you might picture someone who's like training to slay their father as this like perfect killing machine. Fetter is just mostly fucked up from it.
Yeah, Fetter's kind of just chilling. So the book really gets started when I think he's like, 23, he says, and he moves to this city called Luriat, I think it's called, which is, in theory, a post-scarcity society, sort of, because you don't have to work in Luriat if you become a citizen, which requires being able to. It has a bunch of hoops that you have to jump through. Like, you have to be able to read the language. You have to be able to fill out these forms. You have to be able to, like, provide your race and your caste so you can be appropriately like assigned. And then you're given a like an apartment and like I think enough money to get by. But it's like this bureaucratic process that if you can't get through it, you're just homeless, I guess.
A race and caste system that we never even have fully explained to us because none of the characters seem to fully understand it. It seems to be constantly shifting and, you know, you're just trying to hold on for dear life.
Yeah, and you're as likely to get to that point of being provided for and whatnot in basic ways. Well, not even as likely. You're more likely to be caught up in either plague years or pogrom years. Like, there's cycles of just dizzying, like, plague that sweeps through the land that people are quarantined by more or less indefinitely. And there's pogrom years as well, which is people just take for granted that, like, okay, yeah, there's going to be this religious fervor that sweeps through and does this, like, ethnic cleansing that sort of keeps the population down, that keeps that reduces people's organizing capacity. So it's not great.
Yeah.
And there is also requirements to even be able to access those basic needs and necessities. Like you're not allowed to organize tenants associations. They're trying to keep you atomized. There are things like that, you know, you don't get the vibe of like a capitalist society in the sense of like you're being pushed to the absolute brink. You know, there is like kind of a lot of breathing room for the people who do make it. Instead, you get this sort of society that is trying to justify the reason that there is hierarchy at all because they have such a surplus.
Right. I also think it's interesting that there's like a lot of like the way that the law is presented in this, like when his mother tells him, like when he says that he has a boyfriend and his mom is like, oh, you should be careful. Sodomy is illegal in Luriat. And he's like, yeah, but nobody cares about that. Like everybody's gay. Who cares? And she's like, well, it doesn't matter until it does. And that's that, like when people are like, you know, when the like, you know, right wingers are like, oh, gay people, you're pro Palestine. Well, in Palestine, they'll throw you off a roof, blah, blah, blah. That is not how that works in the Middle East, like in my, you know, small experience. But like those kind of laws, and even like when it was illegal to be gay here and when it was illegal to be gay in the UK, it's like you can be gay until you cause problems for people in another reason and they need a reason to get rid of you. Also, I think it's interesting that they mentioned that the anti-sodomy law is left over by a previous regime that had taken over the peninsula, which is true of the Middle East. They're all British laws that haven't been struck from the books. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, there is this weird colonial hangover over this whole supercontinent region, because like there are explicitly like Anglo, non-English sounding names like Luriat, like Akuzdab, but there's also places called Cook's Ferry. Right.
Yeah.
Stuff that just seems left over from some previous foreign regime. And indeed, you have referenced in their history like 3 different occupations from some unspecified power. They mentioned the United Nations at one point late in the book.
I love that.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
the UN exists.
Oh, just surprised UN. So I guess like starting out,
UN jump scare.
starting out, we just like get to see Fetter's day-to-day life, which is like, he has a boyfriend who is like this sort of like bougie guy with like a government job from like an upper middle class.
He says he has like this well-groomed, like kind of graying beard. He's a little older. It's all curled together. And I'm like,
right.
You met on Grindr 100%.
Yeah, he says he met him on a dating app.
Yes. Grindr exists. The only 2 things that exist one-to-one are Grindr and the United Nations.
Vajra dropped the Saint of Bright Doors Grindr.
I'm not gonna lie, his boyfriend sounds hot, Hedge.
Oh yeah.
But he also sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Like he's just like, look, I have liberal sensibilities. I'm a great guy.
Yeah.
He's the sort of guy who, like, he can fuck off to somewhere in the mountains, whenever it's like a plague year and be totally fine.
Mhm.
And he's somebody I think who has, if there's any like class anxiety, he wants his resources to be useful in some way to specific people in his life.
Mhm.
Like there's a bit where Fetter's admitting that, like, yeah, I'm kind of attracted to this other person that I'm in this like archaeological dig with. And Hedge is like, well, that's okay. Like, just as long as I get to be the one to take care of you when you're sick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, he's got his support group, which is other people who
so
are
good.
known as unchosen, as in people who were like supposed to be important in like, because this is a world of like saints and cults and religious groups
So
and
many
chosen
religions.
ones. So he's in a support group of different people who were just like not either walked away from their destiny or were like cast aside for somebody else.
Mhm.
And this is his group that is run by a woman I think named Coel.
Yeah, Coel is how
And
I was saying it.
she is like the local like revolutionary leader.
She's
Mhm.
written a couple of plays that have been banned. One that they can talk about but not perform, and the other that they just straight can't talk about.
She also sounds hot.
Coel sounds hot. She's got all the tattoos and everything. I like to imagine Coel. I love Coel. She's like, they were like, so this therapy group was supposed to be a recruiting for your revolution the whole time. And she says, every group I join ends up being recruiting for the revolution. She says, it's
Yeah.
not on purpose. It just
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah. And there's another guy in it who the other important one is Kaduv, whose power
Yeah,
he has
Kaduv.
like a power where he can like speak things into being, kind of. So she wants to use him for his voice to like hypnotize people into like standing up to the government.
Mm. Yeah, no, he is described as like an ugly little guy with a furry tongue, but he speaks real well.
Yeah.
Which is funny because then when they put him in a play, they give him a mask, and I'm like, damn, Kaduv.
who Feder seems to have this sort of like interesting, like sort of erotic attachment to, but also this sort of like disgust and like jealousy. Like he gets
Yeah.
momentarily very like insulted when Kaduv like does that, gives him that code that for a second Feder thinks he's like confessing his love to him, and he gets really like annoyed by it. I thought that was really interesting how jealous he is of Kaduv, but also just like thinks of him as better than him because
He also is like he's like Kaduv when it seems like Coel likes him better. He's like getting really like he's like, no, mom, don't like him more. I mean, Coel, don't like him more. Like this guy has real like a real need to please. I wrote down in my notes about Feder, this is the type of motherfucker to say quietly when he wants to scream because he doesn't want to wake neighbors. Because he
also
like,
terrible mommy issues.
yes, terrible mommy issues. He doesn't want to inconvenience anyone in small ways, but is willing to let people die for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is, yeah. If something bad happens to him, he will lay on the floor for 4 days and completely go silent. You will have to go up and check on him and bring him tea.
This happens multiple times.
Oh yeah. People will say, hey, when I like touch this door, I have like a horrifying Lovecraftian experience. And he's like, well, it gives me a headache. And that's actually just as bad. And he's dead serious. I love
Feder.
him.
Yeah.
It
Feder
says
is a messy homosexual.
He is. Well, bisexual because he's into women as well, but like he doesn't quite understand it. I feel like he's scared of women.
Yeah. I mean, I would be too if my mom was Mother of Glory, TBH, who also sounds hot.
Yeah, I will say, especially the flashback about her, which we'll get to.
Yeah. So
the other introduce what the bright doors are.
I was about to say that. The other thing we need to frame up is the bright doors.
I can read this. I have this quote saved. Yeah. So in this city, there are bright doors everywhere, and it says, Coel is telling them, there are things that everybody knows if they live here long enough. The first of these is that the bright doors don't have an other side. I see it has not occurred to you to check. If you enter any building that hosts a bright door or go to the other side of any wall, you won't find the back of the door. Go see, you'll find it's true. Just unbroken wall. Sometimes not even a wall. Second is that any closed door in Luriat can become a bright door if left closed long enough. any doorway that can be shut and can't be seen through when closed, if left shut and untouched for an undetermined length of time, will vanish from one side and become unopenable from the other. She goes on to say that the bright doors are completely indestructible unless you destroy the wall around them, in which case that they will vanish. They cannot be lockpicked. They cannot be gone through. And some people have a weird experience with them, but there is no like inherent way of understanding them. And the city, being Luriat, has completely bureaucratized it and academicized it to hell and like delegated each bright door to a committee.
I like that, like, Fetter's reaction to the bright door is like he feels cold wind coming up from around it, and he smells like a bitter smell, and he touches it and it gives him a headache and an erection, which I think is incredible.
Also, whenever he has like a sensual moment, he like apparently he has like scarring over his chest and he feels it in his scarred nipple. It says it multiple times in the book, and he says that one's his favorite. And it's not really important. It's just a little character detail that you're like, oh, that's Fetter's thing.
Yeah,
good for him.
Yeah, he's horny, but in like a low key way. Like it's just normal for him. I think that the narration is very like Fetter is just such a, I think, blunt person who kind of doesn't really think anything he does is strange, even though he is a very strange person. And the way that the narration presents that, I think, is really cool. So I guess, how he gets into everything is that like, Coel, the, revolutionary leader / the leader of their support group, wants him to impersonate like a sort of middle class guy and get work on this group studying the bright doors. And she doesn't really care about the bright doors. She just wants him to make a connection to this committee that oversees the bright doors, who are these like rich people who were they're only in one scene, but they were pretty fun.
They do a laugh that's not really a laugh. They do like a little tittering laugh. And Fetter's there like, okay, the two women ordered this alcohol and this man ordered this alcohol, so I'll drink the one the man's drinking. And then he tastes it and he goes, fuck, I don't drink alcohol. This hurts actually a lot. Yeah, and then
he gets drunk and starts asking like dumb questions. Like, boy, stop.
You get the sense that he notices the stuff because he's very used to constructing himself in, not quite in the similar ways that these rich folks are, not quite in the ways that they have subtext and subtle sniping at each other, but like, he knows he's different, and he's people don't really consider it too weird that he doesn't have a shadow. It's just like, whatever. But like early on, he teaches himself that every step must be a conscious, willed act if it's to pass muster as ordinary human movement. Lift the foot, move it, press it back down to earth. He drills till it's second nature to test his footing, to subtly wriggle his ankle to make sure his heel is clamped firmly to the ground without making it obvious to the weighted what he's doing.
Oh, because right. Did we mention that he can float? Like, did we say that?
Yeah, I did mention it briefly, but that is
I don't necessarily call it flying, but yeah, he can definitely lift himself up off the ground and just like defy gravity for a bit.
Oh, also fire doesn't burn him.
Yeah.
Like he cannot be burned by fire. And he can float and has no shadow. Those are the things.
Is that always the case that he can't be burned by fire?
I think so. Yeah, he says it when he's young. He says that he like tries matches on him, but he's never brave enough to like throw himself into an actual fire until later.
The part where Fetter like puts his hand on Hedge's shoulder and says, "I have to go," and sings "Defying Gravity" was really good. I liked that a lot. It was really beautiful.
I guess also he has like something that he refers to as his luck, which is like a sensation in his stomach that like tells him to do things. Like,
my luck is when my tummy hurts.
Yeah, he's a man. He's so like me for real. He got tummy ache. He got headache. I'm like, wow. He's only 23. That's so rough, buddy. I'm over 30.
That's interesting. It was weird to me that not weird. It was intriguing to me that there's a billion different like cults and religions and legends and whatnot. There's a whole support group we mentioned for like chosen ones. And there's one dude whose particular mythology talks about like the man in the fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mhm.
somebody who's like unburned and he's a religious figure in that way. And I was waiting for the story to come around and have it like
Have Feder be the man in the fire?
yeah, have Feder be the man in the fire, like not in the way that this person understood it precisely, but like, oh, like there's a whole bunch of different stories that are actually a reflection of this one particular like destiny that's to come to pass. And I'm glad that the book doesn't do that. I'm glad that the book
Mm-hmm.
doesn't do that.
I think that
I
doesn't
mean,
it say that the chosen ones, or they, I think the chosen one's duty is they have to make sure that the man is never allowed out of the fire. That's like
mhm.
the thing that they do, and then they say they're gonna go do that, and then like Feder never sees them again, and it's like, oh, okay.
Side quest.
That's fine. I guess that's part of like revolution, right? Like some people go and you don't know what they're doing and you never see them again. Like that's like a
It's
big
part of
element of this book. Like
it's part
the
of
work.
revolution, and it's part of support groups that sometimes like
Yeah.
fucking AA just stop showing up. Like,
Right.
to be honest, like did this person fall off the wagon, or did they like fix their
Move.
lives? Who can
Yeah.
say? Um
But that's something that Feder also establishes very early on when he's talking to Hedge. He's like, I like the idea that there are many possibilities, and so the idea that he's not even like the main character of his own, despite being the son of the perfect and kind, the idea that he's not even the main character of his own destiny is really intriguing to me, because there's a million things happening all at once. Like it's mentioned that the perfect and kind's religion isn't even like it's like the fifth or sixth biggest religious force in his region.
Yeah.
I will say
Shiloh
that
agrees.
Mhm.
absolutely. I'll also say that while Feder might say that he likes all kinds of possibilities, he sure wasn't showing that when his assassination attempt wasn't in this timeline going to work out. But
Yeah.
we'll get to that for a second, because I think we should frame up
Pipra.
what the information that Feder gets from his mother's calls.
Oh
His
right. Yeah.
mother's
Oh
magic
god.
phone calls on his disconnected phone line, where she's like, here's how your father did like informational genocide.
This story,
Epistemicide.
it blew my mind. Like I already really liked the book, but I thought this story was so brilliant, and like what it's doing, I think in the text, but also like on a thematic level, I think is just like incredible. So Mother of Glory calls him on the magic phone.
And can I say really quickly before you summarize the story, really
Yeah.
quickly, the first thing she says when she
Yeah.
calls is, the doctors will tell you I'm dying of cancer, but it's disappointment in you.
Mean shit.
I love
I
her.
just had to frame that up before you get into to throw that out before you get into the other stuff, because I'm like, oh my god, this is such a type of lady.
So she tells a story about how she was part of this civilization thousands of years ago. That she said that they lived on their miraculous island or something.
Yes.
And her people, they didn't have names. They didn't need them. And she was a pearl diver, and she just dove for pearls and had a lover, a woman who also didn't have a name. She just called her beloved. And they lived in this society with like her family, and then one day this like pirate came to the island, who was called like Cruel Victory at that point, or something.
Called himself Cruel Victory.
Yeah, and he meets her, and because she's wearing pearls, I think, and like her like wife is going down on her or something when he comes up, he assumes she's a queen. And
he's like, there's no other reason why you'd go down on a woman. That's crazy. She must be royalty.
Yeah, the perfect and kind definitely does not eat pussy.
No,
I'm gonna say that. And so he basically seduces her, and she teaches him like her people's magic. And he becomes extremely good at it, like, very fast. And he's sort of like, it's kind of an Elden Ringy type story. Honestly, I was like, this has Elden Ring energy.
He is a Dark Souls
Yeah,
character.
he's a Dark Souls
There's-
character for sure.
There's something to the fact that he becomes powerful at it, not in like Tom Cruise Last Samurai white boy becomes the best samurai type way, but in like a guy from the outside. He's going to all the different tribes, and they're like, none of us ever sought to like master all the sacred knowledge. None of us ever taught to like grab fantastical beings who live beside us by the throat and demand all their secrets.
But the one guy that gets good at like everything is like really cool to them.
Yeah, he starts categorizing them. He starts like making basically like spreadsheets of all the information. He takes what is holy and he profanes it by like reducing it to ones and zeros. Basically, he commodifies it, which is why he is able to turn the shit back around on them so effectively.
Right. And so then he is like, okay, well, I need to go and take over the rest of the supercontinent because I need to spread my message. And he, Mother of Glory, it's not her name yet, but she's pregnant with Fetter now. Like, so she's going to have a son. And he's like, no, I have to leave her and my son. So, because my son is my last Fetter. So he names him that because he's like tying him down to the world. He's like his final attachment that he has to get rid of before he can like achieve enlightenment or whatever. And Mother of Glory curses him, and as punishment, or sort of like just to get distance from her curse, he does this thing where he completely changes the geography of the world, but also changes the history and makes it so that civilization never existed. Like, basically destroys their history and makes them different. And this apparently happened. This had happened in Fetter's lifetime, but it also didn't because he rewrote history and put all of this history between.
If I could read the quote for this part, I think this hits so hard. He made it so that my sea folk were hunter-gatherers far from the water. It was as if we had always been that way, but on that first morning we all still remembered the old world and not the new one, and we knew our songs were wrong. He made it so that we had never been a strange and wonderful island, but merely the northernmost tip of the great world island, the supercontinent of Jambu, whose arrowhead was blunted and distorted by this addition. The Hanu Mountains did not only take the place of the Gulf of Pearls, they took the place of our great southern peninsula and all its universities. All our learning and theory, carefully stored in their great libraries, was wiped out, including, and I believe this was intentional, all the formal records of your father's research. Instead of an island, sea-girt and unique, we became one more province, one more hinterland in the endless continent. With the loss of our records and theoreticians, they had not been killed. Do you understand? They had either never been born or been born and led other lives, clutching fading memories like a mad dream of another world. Without them and that learning, we could not explain any of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's so sick. I mean, it's horrible, but it's also like, oh, okay, this is about imperialism.
Right. Yeah. In the not explicitly bloody, but just as violent, epistemic conquest of an entire people. Right now, there's no record of any of their history. Now they know. They can speak on their experiences and their culture, but like the context is completely lost. The context is reflected solely through their conqueror, and it's a great way. It's a great way of translating this to fantasy or to magical realism, because the logical conclusion of this is changing the very timeline, changing the very landscape. And who's to say that it was not always that way, except people like Mother of Glory, who are not long for this world.
Right. Just like the idea of also like all of these cultures in real life are vanishing with the people, mm-hmm. with the are dying out. People who remember these things are gone, and there'll be stuff written down maybe, but also Western culture has just taken over so much of the world and eaten mm-hmm. so many people's even just sense of themselves. And I mean, my family's Palestinian on my dad's side, but I'm an American. A lot of Palestinian culture is foreign to me. And this is just like a result of like imperialism. Like, I have never been able to go to Palestine. Like, my family, I could never see my family's house. All of the stuff that I could have learned from that side of my family, I never will. So this hit me really, really hard.
This makes me think of Jasper Nathaniel has done reporting from the West Bank on archaeology as a weapon, right?
Yeah.
On archaeologists whose part of their instruction is not just to dig up old artifacts, but to destroy artifacts that do not fit within a narrative.
Right.
And it's not just that you get political power from that. You erase, it happened, of course, but it makes it harder to prove that things happen. It makes it harder to learn about people. It makes it harder to connect to a heritage that's been done. There's so many. Well, there are great historians who have recorded a lot of history of native tribes in the United States. And there are also native tribes that we do not know the name of that are lost to history. Like that we may never know the name of. There may be no records left. And that was intentional and brutal. And so this way of doing it, showing it in this like magical way and leaving behind someone who remembers it, really the last person who remembers it fully, you then completely understand why she turned her son into a weapon. And for the rest of the novel, we're like, Fetter, you motherfucker, you better
go kill that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole time I'm like, Fetter, I'm so sorry for you. Now it's like, Fetter, I understand you're in a tough situation, but if you don't float your ass,
I understand you were abused. Yeah.
But you're the one person who can even see demons at this point.
Oh, right.
Demons,
yeah. Also,
yes.
Yeah. Also, Fetter can see devils, and nobody else can.
Devils,
he's a specialist boy.
Like, the fact of them being called devils even is an act of imperialism, because before they were like the laws and powers of the world.
So they get called devils and anti-gods, which is interesting.
Yes, devils, anti-gods. They're explicitly cast as something evil, and indeed, like,
well, some of them do give you diseases. I don't like those ones.
Well, there's the one that was given that one chick the suck, kind of like sucking on her blood. But mostly they seem to just chill, like, whatever.
Yep, they seem fine.
And also, we don't know that other people can't see them, because Fetter doesn't tell anybody he can see them until the end. But,
That's true.
Reverse Emperor's New Clothes situation.
Right. Fetter finds out about something called Relic A, which is being tested by a woman whose committee he's been on, like, studying the Bright Doors. Her name's Pipra. She's like she's like got some low-level government job. And
he wants her so bad, he'll never have her.
Yeah, she's too cool for him. She just fucks off out of the narrative.
She's my autistic queen. I love her.
Yeah. So he finds out. Yeah, she's the one that he's like, I kind of had like a feeling about another person. Is that like gay or what? And Hedge is like, no, it's fine. And then, okay, so the Relic A turns out to be a molar from, the Perfect and Kind that apparently if he gets close to it, it will kill him. So they're trying to run a test to see what that distance is. So he's going to like slowly approach, and when his tummy hurt, they're gonna like stop. There's a lot of tummy ache in this. This is the tummy ache book.
It is.
So in response, Fetter steals the tooth and gets on a train and starts heading towards his dad to kill him with the tooth. And he does this knowing that like it's going to be traced back to him. All of the people that he knows are probably going to be taken in by the secret police, but he is so like, I'm going to kill this guy that I don't care.
Well, and I love that as it happens, like, yeah, some of the people that he's come in contact with do get swept up, but like Koel's fine, Kaduv is fine. Like there's a little bit of a hangover of like him being like a former chosen one, right?
Mm-hmm. But I mean, also like the thing that the Perfect and Kind does, I think, sort of probably like makes this not come down on him as hard as it could. And what happens is when he gets back to his hometown, Akustab, he finds his mother is like on her funeral pyre, and it's so extra to get on your funeral pyre while you're still alive and being like, bitch.
To wait
while
for
your doctors
son.
circle the dwelling singing, and like their feet are bleeding from dancing.
Yeah, very
You have
extra.
hollowed out the center of your house to build a new like courtyard and have raised yourself on a pyre above the roof, just lying there.
Extremely
just
based.
Absolute queen shit.
Yeah. So when he gets there, Fetter's like, "Hi, I killed Dad, like I told you I would." And she's like, "Oh, dog, that didn't work. Like, good try, but he can just make it so that he was never where he was." So he just changes time again and makes it so he like took a flight instead and did not come within distance of the tooth. So everything Fetter did was for nothing, but also as an aside, like his crime was like kind of wiped away because it never happened. And this is where Fetter finds out that he's fully immune to fire because he's like gets caught in his mother's funeral pyre and it just burns his clothes off.
I love this like dual sort of revelation here, because not only is there not like a silver bullet that that can destroy the oppressor and his institutions, but also like it touches on the whole family trauma thing of like, I think I'm gonna figure out exactly why my folks are this way, but there's always something in their backstory that puts them just beyond my understanding.
Mm-hmm. Right,
Yeah, like
and
maybe
he
your
finds
mom's
out
girlfriend.
that his mother made that tooth. Like, she slapped it out of his dad's mouth and then cursed it, which is really based.
Which is the reason that he's not been able to come this way for so long.
Right.
And there are, and it's part of the reason that his religion has even formed into two schisms, because he couldn't go like a certain, like to this part of the world. So everyone who follows his religion here is like different than the people who follow his religion in other parts of the world.
Right.
And
What
that's
the path
fundamentally because the mom created a schism.
the path behind and above. I think there are two parts they're called.
I kept thinking of Community, Streets Ahead and Streets Behind. I don't know. It's like yeah, y'all's path is streets ahead. Just heard Chevy Chase saying that the whole time. So Fetter does not get arrested for his crime, but trying to go back to the city, he does get arrested in just a random sweep and dumped in a detention camp / quarantine zone / legal gray zone that no one quite understands. All you know is you get taken to the giant camp. They tell you a number. If you forget the number, fuck you. And then you gotta wander and like find a zone. All the zones are like
a refugee city, like literally just like the size of a city.
Yes.
Yeah,
like a huge one. And they're all a bunch of like little communities that are self-governed. And I mean, like it's overseen in some places by military forces. You get the idea there was a conception for how this thing would run once, but it's gotten bigger and bigger. People are like, oh yeah, the fence used to be there. It's moved way back now. And there's reports now that there's like a hinterlands inside the fucking prison city. So dude is just wandering the wastes, just trying to figure out what's going on. It's a real nightmare scenario, but it's also like distinctly similar to what Luriat was like in the first place.
It's a society that has refused to deal with the contradictions, like holding it back from becoming like not a prison, right? Because there's like two conflicting sources of authority: the Summer Court and the Storm Court, and some bureaucratic like thing that's impossible to decipher is like, there's a bit like right at the end here where like this he finds this functionary that's explaining this whole thing to him, and he's like, well, yeah, the one court won't hear any petitions for like redress, the other court won't hear anything either, but if neither court will hear petitions, yes, the secretary nods, pleased. Now you see the problem.
Yeah. So just like everybody's in like illegal limbo here, just like trapped here. And eventually, like, Fetter becomes, because Fetter knows about devils, and he knows about, like, he knows some, like, blessings and stuff like that. He gets known as, like, a doctor, like, a devil doctor. And he starts being able to, like, trade that for, like, food and stuff like that. which
He
is
does a
cool.
really impressive fiddle playing competition to save one girl in particular.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like he uses his devil skill to rip a devil off a girl and like get his own throat sucked.
Yeah.
It's gnarly.
Yeah, it's gnarly. And then he's just like walking and a cop on a bicycle comes up to him and is like, "Oh, yo, I've been looking for you. Anyway, get on. You're leaving." And he's like, "What?" So the perfect and kind, his father gets him out of jail. And it's interesting, the saint, like one of his dad's like generals, is like, "Oh no, you weren't in jail. You were just being quarantined. Like, don't worry about it." And he's
And
like,
he
"No,
met people there who didn't know they were in jail at all. They were like, "Oh, we're just journeying back to our homeland and we got lost."
yeah,
It's like the legal limbo of it all. Like it applies to like his dad's officer is like lying to him, but there is like a fundamental lack of understanding about what's going on in the zone at all. I found it interesting too. The different zones inside the camp are labeled with like different aid organizations that are funding that. Like there's the UN zone. That's when we get that mentioned. There's like different private companies who own different areas. It feels
public-private
very
partnership.
like,
yeah.
It feels very like when you read about disaster zones and former disaster zones, the way that, primarily Western, foreign aid organizations that are often, just sort of in bed with foreign intelligence and military kind of create their own sort of like mini fiefdoms in places like Sudan and places like, I mean, like, that's what I probably eventually want for Gaza, at least those of them that want anyone to live in Gaza at all.
Yeah.
I definitely thought of like, I don't know, the refugee camps that's people like Mahmoud Khalil were born in Syria, that are just like, they started as refugee camps and now they're sort of people have built permanent structures there, but they're still in limbo about where they go, where they live.
Yeah.
I thought of Native American reservations that now have a bit of a legal status, but they had to fight for it because they were sort of internment camps that they built power inside of and then became a force that had to be reckoned with legally. Mm-hmm. It's a really weird and interesting thing that has actually happened to a lot of people in different ways.
Yeah. So yeah, Feder gets out because his dad is like the king, basically.
Yeah.
And he comes
Systems
back.
are nothing to the systematic.
Right. So Luriat has kind of devolved since he's been gone. It's what's known as a white year, which is when the plague is really bad. Oh, right. He catches the plague twice. While
he loves to get the plague.
While he's quarantining from the plague, he gets the plague twice, which I thought was funny. So the whole back section of this book is everybody is in masks and there's like distancing requirements and stuff like that. There's also, because the perfect and kind is there's a bunch of pogroms in the city, of pathless who I guess are like atheists, basically. So a bunch of people,
even though they're not really checking if you're pathless, they're just killing your ass.
Well, they also, I guess, like also there's like the class, the caste, the race. Like, they look at you and they're like, oh, the guys who beat Feder up, they're like, you're not Luriati. We can tell by how you talk. They tell him.
Well, here's what I'll say. This is a pandemic being used to control people, masks, police. There's protesters in the streets. This is about I can't even finish the joke. I was going to say the pandemic. And the Democrats plan to unleash Antifa on our streets. Mm-hmm. Vajra is taking a strong stance right now against the World Health Organization, against Dr. Fauci, and the 2020 election stolen line. The perfect and kind won that election fair and square. And
well, and
no,
indeed,
definitely
like,
not.
This is something that he cops to doing, though, is putting all these systematizing forces in place, creating these categories. He claims to have invented race science at one point.
Oh, perfect and kind. I thought you meant Vajra. I was like,
no.
I think that's true.
No,
you never know when the perfect and kind is completely bullshitting or not. That is the thing I like about him.
That's what's important, though. It doesn't matter if he's bullshitting,
because if he says it becomes true.
Yes.
Right.
So he tells Feder, like, okay, I'm going to make you the prince of the city. I need to leave because this place sucks ass, but you will be king of Luriat. I will make you the saint of bright doors, because I know you love that shit.
They said the line.
Yeah.
He's like, this guy loves bright doors.
So basically he's like, oh, all the injustice that you don't like, all of the bureaucracy, you can just fix it. All you have to do is join the path, become my son for real, and then you get everything. And
You
Feder
can stare at doors all day and suck dick as much as you want.
Exactly. So Feder, he's like, that's what I do. That's what his dad does. Feder then kind of wants to say yes. Like, there's a part of him that's like, this sounds, he's like, he wishes that he wasn't tempted, but he is. But then he's like, no, fuck you, just because he's full of spite, which I love. Then
he gets jumped and gets the plague again.
Yeah, he gets jumped, he gets the shit. I don't even know if he gets the plague again. He just gets like a tooth knocked out, like a front tooth knocked out, and his ribs broken.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like,
he's like jacked up laying on the floor for a while. I thought he had a fever, but it may have not been plague.
I mean, he could have had a fever. If you get that fucked up, you'll probably get a fever. So he's just almost just again, like, is dying in his apartment, and some woman comes in and helps him, and we're not really sure who it was. I wonder if it was the what's her name, Ordinary from the end.
Must have been. I like to think it was Ordinary. Or maybe it's just like a commentary on like normal people who fade in and out of the narratives, like help people, and that has cascading effects that we can't imagine. Either way.
Right. I mean, this book, I was saying this like off mic, but like this book really, really can exist. I feel like so many like revolutionary like books about, like, especially fantasy books about like toppling a regime have so much trouble existing in this tension between following a character and being about like community action. And I think this book really lives in that tension and does it like really well in a way I have never seen a Western book handle. Because this is not a great man story.
No, certainly
in any
not,
way.
yeah.
The villain is a great man. But Feder is not.
Fetterman. Sorry. Feder is not a great man. Yeah, you said Feder, man. Feder, it would self-describe as a fundamentally mediocre man, but like that's why we love him. You know what I mean?
Well, and that bit as well, like, really crystallizes about how a revolution is delicate, and it has like a whole village of like parents. There is no one force that midwives it into existence, and it grows up, faster than any of them can predict.
Right. I was gonna frame up one of the issues that they're having as like a one of the big issues that the Antifa is having in the city is one of the Perfect and Kind's generals, one of his saints. I think he's called like the Saint Errant. Can just also float, and my man is like parked. He is like a drone. He is like in the sky, literally like no-scoping people, like flying down and grabbing them and like throwing them into alternate dimensions, because that's what the bright doors are. The bright doors are doorways to dead
like
worlds,
lost histories, to histories that could have been but aren't.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And any spirits coming through those, any devils, we're led to believe the sort of the lingering manifestations of people that have been erased from history.
Yes, yes. It's people totally stripped of historical context. It's people totally divorced from the understanding of the hegemonic, of the hegemonic like authority and culture. Like, it's no accident that part of the cataclysm that the Perfect and Kind caused wiped out all of his research, right? Wiped out all of the syncretism between his culture and that of Mother of Glory's island. It's not only that he has control over history and over common knowledge, quote unquote, but it's totally divorced. It cannot coexist with any other way of being.
And to enforce that, he needs a guy who's playing Minecraft creative mode, T-posing in the sky, just like zipping down and grabbing motherfuckers.
I did imagine him T-posing, I admit.
Yes.
That's what I imagine Feder does too when he floats. that he's just like in an A pose.
Yeah, I like the part
it.
where Saint Magellan comes out of the sky going, "Chicken jockey!"
So Feder hooks back
Vajra is
up
not
with...
coming on the podcast, is he?
Feder hooks back up with Cole and Kaduv. And they're like, yeah, this chicken jockey guy is wrecking our shit. He's like, every action we try to do, he like grabs somebody and like throws them into the garbage, i.e. through like a bright door or whatever. And we need to get him out. And then Kaduv's like, rocket launcher. And she's like, we don't have a fucking rocket launcher. And Feder is like, okay, but do you have other weapons? Because I have something to tell you. And he's like, yo, I can float. And then he does a fucking suicide bombing on this guy in the air.
He makes the Jack Black smirk and he says, let's fry this chicken. And so
And
then he puts on a suicide bomber vest, blows up, and is fine.
Yeah,
And the way
because
the guy's
he's
looking
so
at
sick.
him,
my
like,
man
he's
is
not
immune
even-
to fire. And he's like, well, explosion is fire.
and
And he's right.
And the same dude that he takes down, like, he's not even looking at him as a threat. He's just looking at him, like, with curiosity.
Yeah, he's like,
Like,
oh,
he's like,
another.
Fuck?
He's like, oh, I was so lonely up here T-posing by myself. And he's just like, so then he just blows, he just fucking blows him up. Just like absolutely just, and then he just no clips out of there, I guess.
Well, yeah, and there's a riot that starts between people who cry to see that happen and people who laugh to see that happen.
Yeah. And some
you know,
people are
people
just like, ha
fighting
ha ha,
for-
what the fuck?
And it, you know.
And
so
then he
there's
burns
always-
all his clothes off again.
Yeah,
My
he
man-
loves to do that. He loves to get naked. He loves to lie on the floor and be sad and sick. And
Classic
he
gay
loves
person.
he loves to be bisexual, eat hot chip, lie, have tummy ache, etc.
Very relatable.
He really
Tummy ache,
is.
but
He
not
really is
shadow.
be bisexual, eat hot chip, and lie in this book. That really is
That
describes
is
him.
basically what he does, yeah. So then he goes to the Akustabi, like,
embassy,
embassy.
basically.
Yeah.
And I was like, this part's going to be boring. And then I was like, oh, no, it's not. This rules.
It's like the best part of the book.
Yeah, the thing that Pipra and her team was studying about the bright doors was, okay, so when does a door become a bright door, right? Like, under what conditions? They have all these, they've systematized it, they've like invented like terms for this, like, oh, there's a like
Frustration
disregard
load.
window. Yes. Like, it's more likely to change after like X amount of time, like open or like not looked at.
They're edging the door. Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, literally. I was trying to come up with a No Nut November type frustration
I
load
see.
joke.
Well, it's now Destroy Dick December, so.
Yeah, that's
It's-
true. Yeah. Which is literally what happens at the end of this book.
Yes.
So basically, if a door in Luriat has been held open for a really long time, that boy is like, its balls are just like heavy with becoming a bright
Yeah.
door. So it is ready to fucking shoot at any time. So just keep that in your mind. Just keep that sort of like edging in your mind when we talk about the next part, because he gets to this embassy and he meets a woman who tells him to call her Ordinary because she's like the emissary extraordinary, but she's like, I haven't been extraordinary in years, just call me Ordinary. And it turns out that I love how she's described. She's wearing like a sarong and a band t-shirt, and she's eating fruit salad.
And she's like, what, like 70 something or whatever?
She's just like, oh, hey,
she's not
Feder.
a young woman.
She's
Yeah.
like, yo.
She knows
Yeah.
who he is. And that's
Yeah.
because she's like, yeah, I fucked your mom.
Yeah. So this is his mother's lover, who is also from the civilization thousands of years ago in the Gulf of Pearls or whatever. And
This
he's
is the
like,
woman
wait,
who so fatedly was eating her out that day
Yeah.
that the ships arrived.
yeah. And she was like, actually, like, I was one of your mothers for a few years before your mom and I broke up. So she
For the
like,
second time, presumably.
yeah,
Right? Like that seems to be the implication, because they split up when she cheated with Perfect and
Cruel
Kind.
Victory.
But then or Cruel Victory at the time. But if she was one of her mother or his mothers for some time, they must have gotten back together and then split up
After the
again, which
cataclysm,
is,
yeah.
yeah.
So while he's like, she's like, yeah, anyway, I've, been looking out for you while you're here, but you haven't seen me. And while they're there, another one of the saints like one of the generals, his dad's generals comes and is like, hey, give me Feder because he just like blew up a guy. And he has to come.
He's got like a bunch of Proud Boys with him too. Like he's got a whole gang of Proud Boys.
Yeah. He brings like, just like a mob that is ready to like tear Feder limb from limb. And then, Ordinary's like, this is a fucking embassy. And then she does something and closes the door on them. And it becomes a bright door. Because that's what happens, because it's so pent up. It's been open for years. And out of the bright door comes Mother of Glory from back before she was Mother of Glory, when she was the queen, quote unquote. The pearl diver comes out, like young and beautiful, and fucking kills the shit out of all of those guys. She kills all the Proud Boys.
Wearing nothing but pearls, just comes out and just drops them. It is so sick.
Yeah.
It's
actually
shit.
Let me read. I want to read that part because it fucking rocks. But I love this thing that before this happens though, like this conversation. You speak for the real people, do you? Saliot sneers. The authentic people who exist beyond the reach of mere democracy. The real people who can't possibly want what you don't want. You're still doing it, Ordinary says, and then sighs. I don't speak for anybody. Not even the autonomous territory of Akusdab, really. Not since she died. It is not possible to speak for the unspeakable, and I am pointing out something that the path is unable to hear. Well then, Saliot says, even by your own terms, you're wasting your time and mine. First true thing out of your mouth, Ordinary says. But basically, like, they have this conversation where he's like, okay, well, the people are on our side. We're gonna win fair and free elections. We've got the propaganda. The people, stop talking about the people. Democracy's not on your side. And she's like, bitch, I am not. She's like, you make the mistake of when I say people, you hear the people. I mean, there are some specific people who are going to fucking kill you.
Yeah.
Which is like
I'm not referring to everyone. I've got my people,
I love that because it is a very like liberal world order thing to be like the only method of change is through voting, through the courts. But as we learn from this book, the only way to create change is through the application of directed violence.
Mm-hmm. Because the courts and the voting, like, I mean, they own the media.
Yeah.
The courts are like, the courts don't even work because there's two dueling courts. No one can decide. There's the absent queen and the Lord Mayor, and there's like, it's all so diffuse, and it's not meant to be able to enact change.
Yeah.
It serves only the people on these like stupid fucking committees and stuff.
Right.
And they're like, no, actually, we're just gonna make this shit happen. We're not gonna play by your rules, and they win.
Because there is an uprising going on. And at the end, there is like, there's still one big twist that we haven't talked about, but like, there is like a movement happening in the streets. But at the same time, that is kicked off by several murders. And it's like, yeah, sometimes if you want to get rid of a tyrant, you have to fucking kill them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I love that.
In the supercontinent.
Of Jambu, yes.
Yeah,
in Laureate, you have to kill a guy sometimes. And then this really cool turn happens where suddenly the POV goes from third person to first person, and you find out who has been narrating the whole book, which is a turn that I have used multiple times in my own writing, and I love it. And we find out that we've been hearing from Feder's shadow, who was torn away from him at birth the whole time. And that's what the tummy ache is. The shadow has been like in his tummy being like, go look over here.
Yeah, it's just been chilling, like on him and like in his vicinity, and traveling the world. Like in the meantime, picking up all kinds of knowledge and whatnot. And it's it's ultimately the shadow that finagles it so that it can get to the perfect and kind and kill him through his dick.
Yeah, he
Yes.
literally is like staying in Vito. I love that there's a guy named Vito.
Vito, who is the perfect and kind's cousin, by the
Right,
way. It mentions
who
it
he's
once.
he's fucking also. But like,
Yes.
so then he's like living inside of Vito, the shadow, and
Giving Vito tummy ache.
yeah, giving Vito tummy ache, and then he goes into the perfect and kind when Vito is sucking him off and goes
Yep.
into his balls and kills him, and it fucking rocks.
And it even says that he says the perfect and kind has complete control over his mind, but because his religion, in direct contrast, I think intentionally to the religion, the way that the mother grew up, is so anti-body, is so like your body is disgusting, your flesh is disgusting, you should disconnect, you should just exist in this life of the mind. He pays no attention to his flesh, and so he is not able to recognize this foreign actor that has come in to destroy him. So it is even actually not just he's killed obviously by the shadow, but he's also killed by the flaw in his ideology that was made in contrast to this ideology he stole from and destroyed, which
I
I think
also
is so fucking cool.
think it's a classic thing to do to have one of the things in your ideology that being gay is bad, but then doing gay shit with your cousin. Like,
Right.
classic thing to do.
For the perfect and kind. And yeah, so his like balls blow up or whatever and he dies. They
Yeah.
don't blow up. He like
Right.
strangles. He says he's like the shadow says it's like killing off his mitochondria and messing up his gut biome. And yeah, he croaks.
Yeah.
It rules.
So he dies, and Fetter's not the one who kills him. Fetter does not know about the shadow. He never finds out. He's like out in the riots, like with Coel. And I really love, like, I remember seeing, like, in the reviews of this book, there were some people who were like, I really liked the book. I thought the shadow thing didn't make any sense. And I do not agree with those people. Because I think on one hand, you can just think of it as like, people, they're like, well, what is the shadow supposed to stand for? And I'm like, well, first of all, it doesn't have to stand for anything because this is a book and not a fable. This is not like Animal Farm. This does not everything has to. But I think if you wanted to like make a one-to-one with everything, I think the shadow is supposed to be the work. Like, the shadow is the change in the world that is going to happen through the actions of a lot of people. Because the shadow goes out and, like, scouts out things for him and, like, finds things out and, like, sets the groundwork. And that's what it felt like to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's cumulative work, education, all of that.
Yeah, I mean, Fetter is raised from birth, thinking that he's going to be the one to kill the perfect and kind, but one sort of understands that as a vague goal that many, many people are going to have to build toward. And when you have that in mind, you see the stripping of the shadow from him as, look, like this is me taking out your great manness, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is me like giving you the humility of, of being part of a movement that is much bigger than you, that will perhaps outlive you for who knows how many decades. Because we don't know what's coming after the perfect and kind dies,
Right.
And in many ways, the objective forces governing our world are far beyond our reach, and all we can do is what we can with our environment and the people in it.
Yeah.
And so that's where the book ends, with the shadow leaving them, and they are mid revolution, and we don't know where the revolution is going to land. We don't know where anything's going to land, but we know the chance has been given and the work has been put in, and there was now a potentiality where it seemed like there was none. And like nobody's plans went perfectly on any side. Nobody's like grand schemes, no matter how well laid, even the mother's, like happened just how they envisioned it. But it was okay because they tried, and that did yield results.
Yeah. This is like, I think one of the like, this book is very like, it is about revolution, but it really crept up on me about like how much that it is. And I really like stuff like that. I like stuff that is like low key about like smashing the ruling class. Like, it always irritates me when things like advertise themselves that way. I'm like, no, I like to be surprised. But yeah, this book is so worth reading. Even like though we talked about it, like it's very beautiful. Like he's an incredible prose writer. So it's really worth reading, and I'm excited to try to get back into Rake's Fall. I started it, but it kind of bounced me off a little bit, but I'm gonna definitely try again.
Just because a rake fell.
Yeah, a rake hit me right in the head. Yeah,
it was tough. That's just something you got to be willing to push through.
The dimension where Aisha already finished that book is behind a bright door.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's crazy because actually Aisha read the whole book, but she forgot it when the rake. Yeah, that's actually what happened.
The rake just fell on me. It was really hard.
Well.
yeah. This book fucking rocks. Yeah. Like it's fun to read something like about like a culture that I really don't know anything about, and feel like not at all. Like I never was like, I can't relate to this or anything like that, because like in so many ways, like it is extremely relatable. Like it's like the work is the same no matter where you are.
And I was thinking about this right before we went to record. A lesser book, and perhaps big budget Hollywood adaptation would absolutely make it so that Feder trains and becomes a fucking DBZ hero and just ices the perfect and kind in the sky.
Yeah.
They're about
floating.
That.
He's like pulls out the tooth and he's like, I'm immune to the tooth. And then he's like, I have two teeth. Like,
you can't handle the tooth.
Yeah. The fact that he can float is extremely anime of him. Like, that is one of the things that I was thinking when he, like, launches himself up to that guy and, like, ices him with a...
Well, and I really...
He says, you could be the saint of the bright doors. And he says, no, I'm the saint of the fight doors. He punches him through into the darkness dimension.
I really liked what you said, actually, about no matter where he comes from, like, obviously he has this background... he has this training, he has this destiny that he's born in, and it's to do the work and then go back into the movement. I liked when you brought that up, because it's being somebody who is raised by, like, who is given status by the people around him, but who is just one cog in this thing that he's building.
Right. I also, I think it's really cool that, I lost my train of thought. The Saint of Fight Doors just like knocked everything out of my head. It was too
He does
good.
that. He's so good at fighting.
Yeah, he's really good at it. I can't remember what I was going to say. It's fine. It'll come to me when we're done recording.
Read the book. Read the book, folks.
Yeah.
That's what I've got. Well, next week we've got a real treat for y'all. We're gonna it's 'tis the season. So we're gonna be reading about the fucking Grinch. And just so you know, we are on the Grinch side. Unlimited genocide on Whoville.
We are dedicated to bringing you all a Marxist reading of the Grinch.
Marxism, Leninism, Grinchism. Absolutely.
Yeah. Fuck those Who's.
Fuck those Who's. Yep. That's actually the message of Saint of Bright Doors.
Yeah.
That's the Grinch can come through the bright doors. He's one of the spirits.
Yeah.
He comes through, he grabs your shit, he runs back through it, and we love him for it.
Yeah, why does he look like that?
All will be revealed next week.
Yeah.
I've read I know of like How the Grinch Stole Christmas, like fan fiction that
this can't be good.
That considers the Grinch like non-binary, and I tend to because like the Grinch is like
can be good.
There's only one Grinch, right?
This is Jim Carrey.
There's only two Grinches.
You know, I think that this is a debate we're gonna have to put a pin in, and we're gonna have to figure it out next week.
Is the Grinch a Tumblr sexy guy?
Yes.
Oh,
okay.
I'm bringing evidence of it too. Don't you worry.
Okay, all right.
Well, folks, we appreciate you. Avoid any bright doors in your area if you're not formally trained. And
Might give you a headache and an erection.
The same mite doors.
And like, if you're bisexual, don't worry about it. Just like, you know, the tummy ache might be destiny calling.
Yeah, that's so true. That's what I tell myself. Bye, guys.
Peace.
See ya.